tomorrow the chemotherapy starts. Be lying if I said I was a bit anxious today. Been a bit anxious about it, thinking about it, not really knowing what to expect. People can tell you as many stories as they want about how I will feel or should feel or how I'll react to it, but I know everybody's different. I'd had a lot of running around to do today. I had to go back to the fertility clinic and give my last specimen before the chemo starts, and just running around doing a few other bits and pieces that I wanted to get sorted before I sort of sit down, knuckle down and focus on what I have to do to get better. So just been running some errands. I'm going to go pick Courtney up now, and we decided that we're going to spend tonight together and we're going to go do a float tank, also known as sensory deprivation tank. Big magnesium bath. Basically you go in and get locked inside this pod, if you've never heard of it. It's a really good magnesium infusion for your body, but I think most of all we just use it for peace and quiet for our mind. So just going to do that tonight to sort of relax the body and the mind before the journey starts tomorrow. Picked up Buglugs here.
Yeah, g'day.
Now we're at the float place. Courtney does float hopping, so she does trials at every float place in Brisbane.
Don't tell everybody that.
It's a secret they should know. The float today is possible for me because these guys Beyond Rest at Cooperoo heard about my situation through our gym, and they offered me free floats whenever I needed it throughout my treatment and stuff. So they're absolute legends here. Let's go lay in a dark box with salty water. Today is the day the chemo starts. My camera battery died last night when we were at the float place, but it was good to sort of disconnect the mind in the float tank. I've had heaps of people ask me if I'm nervous or anxious about starting the chemo. I'd probably be lying if I said I wasn't, but I don't really know what to expect. So everybody's different, obviously, and how it's going to feel for me is going to be different for how it felt for other people, so it's hard to gauge. But it's the start of it. And it's one of those things that just has to be done. It's got to be done on the journey to get better. I had a few questions of people asking me, would I have ever considered not doing the chemo and trying a more natural route myself, being the person that I am. But I mean, the reality of the situation is, with the diagnosis, which was something that was quite scary when we got the final diagnosis, and which was, and not a lot of people know this yet, you'll find out now, is that the complete diagnosis was classical Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's advanced stage 4 with bone involvement. So it's also in my bones as well, which when you hear something like that, freaks you out a little bit. You know, it makes you you get those worrying thoughts in your head, like, is it too far gone to be able to fix something like that? And it's not. The good thing is, what the specialist said was my blood's dealing with the whole situation really well. So I'm actually starting conventional treatment as if I had stage 2 or stage 3 anyway. And lymphoma is a little bit different in the way that even though it's in my bones, it's mainly just those cells that are made up I think in my case with classical Hodgkin's lymphoma, it's Reed-Stenberg cells, which is like a mutated cell out of the mixture of B and T cells from the spleen that create it. And to give you a rundown, it creates these little tumours inside your lymph nodes and things like that, and it just accumulates these bad cells. So I've got tumours that start from here, they go down through my chest, under my arm, through here, down into here, into my spleen, all through the front of my stomach, all through my spine, and in this part of my right leg. So I'm riddled, and the thing that makes the most sense for me is that I get the toxic shit done and out of the way, kills most of the cells, and then everything outside of that, my mind and my body's ability to heal, and the environment that I put myself in is going to be the thing that makes sure that it disappears completely and then never comes back. So today's day one. I feel like it's the first day of school or something. Didn't like school, hated it a bit, but bought some nice warm clothes this week because the hospital was friggin' freezing, so I'm going to get all dressed up, ready to go, ready to tackle the first treatment. And you guys will know what I feel like within the next 12 hours or so.